Now we are going to talk about objects and actions today. And the verbs in this box, they describe the action of point 1 to 18. These are various things. And we need to match each verb with the thing it describes. That is why we are talking about objects and actions. First is water changing from a liquid to a solid state because of the cold. So we call it freeze. And the second one is the drum in a washing machine moving very quickly in its final stage of wash. Right? Then we call it as a spin. We call it as a spin. Then the third one, spin we have taken, freeze we have taken. Now the disk tray opening and closing on a computer, that is, you're sliding it, or disk is sliding. Water slowly turning into vapor, then we call it as evaporation or evaporate. Then cooking fat or oil becoming solid on an unwashed plate, what we call it? We call it as congeal or congeal. For blood we would say clot. Okay. And for fifth one, then coming to this sixth one, the planet Earth moving around on its axis. What we call it? We call it as rotate. It is rotating. Then a loose wheel on a car. A loose wheel on a car. The seventh one is wobbling. Wobbling. Then gas coming out of a faulty valve, we call it as a leak, or we should also say it is escape, or the noise it makes is a hiss. Then a pane of glass in a window frame when a large vehicle passes nearby. We call it as vibration or vibrate. If the glass is loose in the frame, it will also rattle. Then a t-shirt which has been washed so often it is losing its color. 10th, fading, color fades. 11th, the sun coming up in the morning. 11th, the sun coming up in the morning we call sunrise, rise. Then cliffs becoming or being slowly destroyed by the sea. We call it erosion or erode. We'll take erode from here. Erode. Then slightly damp wood on a fire giving off smoke but no flames. 13. We call it as smolder. Slightly damp wood on a fire giving off smoke but no flames. Damp wood means filled with moisture. We call it as smolder. Cold metal as it gets hotter. 14. We call it as expanding. 15. The piece of elastic being pulled so that it becomes longer. 15. We call it as stretch. 16. A window being hit by a stone so that a long thin break forms in the glass. We call it as a crack. If the glass breaks completely, we call it as shatters. 17. Coffee falling out of a cup by mistake, we call it as spill. My coffee spilled out. Then a bomb suddenly blowing up, we call it as explosion or explode. Okay, same for these. Let us see, we have another 18 of them. So Earth moving around the sun. So Earth revolves around the sun. Second, the house slowly sinking into soft ground. We call it as subside. Third, traffic moving smoothly along a motorway. We call it as a flow. Traffic is flowing smoothly. Fourth, glass changing from a solid to a liquid in very high heat. Fourth one, we call it as melt. Glass changing from solid to liquid in a very high heat. Fifth, a rubber ball hitting in the ground and going back into the air, we call it as bounce. The rubber ball is bouncing back. Sixth, the population of a town becoming bigger. Population of a town becoming bigger, we call it as sixth one. It is growing. Population is growing. Seventh one, the sun going down in the evening. Hope you can just pause and please assume that these are here also, and try to just keep them in mind. And let us start with the seventh one, the sun going down in the evening. Seventh one, sun sets, so we call it sets. 8, gas or steam changing into liquid, we call it as condensation. 9, a wide river going through the countryside in big curves. 9, we call it as meander. A wide river going through the countryside in big curves, we call it as a meander. 10th, documents being laid out on a table, that means spread. Documents are spread on a table. 11, water coming very slowly out of a tap. 11, we call it as trickling. The water is coming out very slowly in small drops. We say the water is dripping or trickling. 12th, a slice of bread in a toaster turning black and beginning to give off smoke. 12, we call it as burn. The slice of bread is burning. 13, a lump of dry earth being rubbed between somebody's finger. A lump of dry earth being rubbed between somebody's fingers. The 13th is crumble. We call it as a crumble. Hot peel as it gets cooler. 14th one, we call it as contract. 15, an old-fashioned alarm clock suddenly going off. 15th one, we call it as ring. We also use this word for the noise a telephone makes when someone is calling you, ring. And also we'll use it for an old-fashioned alarm clock suddenly going off, ring. Then a boat going to the bottom of a river, we call it as sink. The boat is sinking. The boat has sank. 17, dead fish lying on the surface of a polluted lake. 17, we call it as float. 18, a volcano throwing out lava and ash. We call volcano has erupted or eruption, lava eruption. Now, few words in exercise 1 and 2 can be used in more than one way and often with a different meaning. We need to complete the sentences which are coming with an appropriate word. The definition of the word you need in italics. Italics after each sentence is going to help you. And you will need to change the form of some of the words if required. For example, in the first case, it is giving the company froze its employees' wages until the end of the year. Froze, right? To say officially that the rate or level of something must stay the same and not increasing, that is froze. So let us come to the second one. Some people dash through life without really knowing what they want to do, and the meaning will come from to behave in a way that shows you do not have a clear plan for what you want to do. Some people float through the life. Float through. We have taken these words from these boxes only. Some people float through life. Third one. People prices have been dashed steadily all year to increase in amount. That is rising. The food prices are rising steadily all the year. Fourth one. As the light dash in the evening, people start coming out onto the street. Light to become less bright as the light fades. Fifth, he managed to dash a 2-hour presentation into 30 minute to make something shorter or smaller. In this, we can use condense, we can use also contract. We managed to squeeze a 2-hour presentation into 30 minutes. But since we are already provided with condense, we'll use condense here. Sixth one, as the storm slowly died out, the flood water gradually to become lower. That means to become subsided. The water has subsided. We'll use subsided. Seventh, the discussion we had last night dash around the problem of finding affordable accommodation. The meaning should be from this sentence to have something as the main or most important part of a subject. Seventh one, we call it as revolved. The discussion we had last night revolved around the problem of finding affordable accommodation. 8. You can dash the machine to turn itself on or off at a particular time. The meaning should come from to make a piece of equipment ready to operate. We will use S or set here. Set. You can set the machine to run itself on or off. 9th. As soon the company's website went online, orders began to dash in. To arrive or leave in small amounts or number. 9th, we are going to use trickle, some droplets, trickle. 10th, the queue for tickets was so long it dashed all the way down the street to continue for a long distance. 10, we'll use here stretched, so long it stretched all the way down the street. 11th, once a week we get together and dash ideas of each other. And the meaning should come from to discuss ideas with other people in order to get their opinion and make a decision. The 11th is bounce. Bounce. We can also say bounce ideas around. These are informal expressions. 12th one is they wanted to keep the story secret, but someone dash it to the press. To give private or secret information to journalists or the public, we call this as leaked, L-E-A-K-E-D, leaked. So this was about objects and actions. Next we are going to take obligation and option. Thank you so much.